Yes, and welcome to Super Coaching of UPSC by Textbook. And I am your mentor Pradeep, and today we meet here to discuss one of the very important topic of Indian economy, that is balance of payment. Let me know, dears, whether I am audible or not. Am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello. So, am I audible? Hello. So, today we meet here to discuss balance of payment. So let me tell you that what is the meaning of balance of payment. When we talk about the balance of payment, uh, what happened that one country has the economic interaction with other country. One country. Good morning, Manu. Good morning, Urvashi. So I am audible. Okay. So let's start our session. So when we talk about the balance of payment, let me give you the background. What happened when one country has the economic interaction with another country? That means what is going to be, one, suppose A is a country, and this country has the economic interaction with B. So economic interaction means that A is exporting with B, and B is importing with A. At the same time, A is also exporting and importing with B is also exporting and importing with A. So what happened? I just want to say that when there is suppose one country is there, and that country has the economic interaction with the rest of the world. Economic interaction, I mean to say that that country has the export and imports with other countries or with rest of the world. So there is need to have the systematic record of all those economic interaction of one country with rest of the world. That if we have the systematic record of all the economic interaction of one country with rest of the world, that economic interaction is known as balance of payment. That economic interaction is known as balance of payment. Let me. So I use two words. One is export, other is import. So let me explain what is the meaning of export and what is the meaning of import. Export means, suppose A is domestic country and B is a foreign country. So if A is selling goods or services to B, that is nothing but export. If A is purchasing goods and services from B, that is nothing but import. So let me remind it once again. What I said, I try to explain balance of payment. So what is the meaning of balance of payment? So before that, let me give you a background that what happened, that one country has the economic interaction with other countries or with rest of the world. So that economic interaction means they have the export, they have the import with each other. So when this export and import is going to take place, there is need to have the systematic record of this export and imports. So if country A or domestic country is going to have that systematic record of this economic interaction with rest of the world. That systematic record is known as balance of payment. And we also try to understand that what is the meaning of export and what is the meaning of import. So what are exports? Exports are that if country is going to sold out the goods or services to the foreign country, that is nothing but export for domestic country. What is import? Import is if country, domestic country is going to purchase goods and services from foreign country, that is nothing but import. So now we are going to proceed further and we are going to have that this is just the definition of balance of payment. Now we are going to discuss that how it is maintained, how balance of payment of any country is maintained. So for that we have to discuss that this balance of payment, when we talk about the balance of payment, this balance of payment, for having that systematic record, we can categorize the balance of payment under two categories. One is known as current account. Since it is a systematic record, so it is going to be maintained in the form of accounts. So BOP can be categorized under two accounts. One is known as current account, other is known as capital account. So my dears, please listen me and listen me carefully. What I said, since BOP is a systematic record of economic interaction of one country with rest of the world, and since it is a systematic record, that's why it is going to be maintained in the form of accounts. So BOP can be maintained under two accounts. One is known as current account, other is known as capital account. One is known as current account, other is known as capital account. So let me tell you that what is going to be included under current account. So now we are going to focus current account, then we will focus on capital account. So what is current account? Current account takes into account the current transaction of one country with the rest of the world. So current transaction is going to take place in the form of export and imports of goods and services. That's why current account, my dears, please, that's why current account can be further categorized under two categories. One is known as trade account, merchandise account. One is known as trade account or merchandise account or visible account. Visible account. This is the name of one account only. That means this current account. Current account means it is going to take into account the current transactions of one country with rest of the world. And that current transaction is going to take place in the form of export and imports of goods and services. So that's why that current account can be categorized further under two categories. One is account of goods and other is account of services. So account of goods is also known as trade account, mercantile account or visible account. Whereas account of services is known as invisible account. Account of services is known as invisible account. So that means other can be invisible account, and this visible account, trade account, merchandise account has the imports of goods, has the account of imports of goods, and also have the accounts of export of goods, export of goods. like this current account. Current account can be further categorized under merchandise account or trade account or visible account. And this account can further be categorized as export of goods and imports of goods. Export of goods and import of goods. Whereas other part of current account which is related to services, it can be invisible, known as invisible account or service account. Let me tell you that why the account related to goods are known as visible account, account related to goods are known as visible account, and account related to services are known as invisible account. Anyone? Why? Why goods account or that part of BOP which deals with import and export of goods is known as visible account? Anyone? Can anyone tell in a comment why it is known as visible account? It is known as visible account because goods and services, goods can be visualized. Why it can be visualized? Because goods have the physical structure. Goods have the physical structure and they can be visualized. That's why it is known as visible account. Whereas the service account is known as invisible account because services cannot be visualized. Why services cannot be visualized? Because service do not have any physical structure. Services are produced and delivered at the same time. Whereas goods are produced at one place and they are distributed at another place. So since goods can be visualized, that's why goods account is also known as visible account, whereas services cannot be visualized. That's why service account is also known as invisible account. So any doubt to anyone? Is there any doubt? Can we proceed further? So now, as I said that this trade account or visible account has account of export of goods and account of import of goods, whereas this invisible account or service account, this invisible account or service account has the account of export and import of services. Be very clear. Account of export and import of services. At the same time, the other part can be current transfers. So, invisible account can further be categorized under two categories. One is known as export and import of services. One is known as export and import of services, whereas other account can be known as current transfers, whereas other account can be known as current transfers. So what is the meaning of, okay, so what is the meaning of current transfer? It is very clear that if that means when we are interacting or one country is interacting in economic terms with other country, it is not going to have the transaction of goods and goods only, rather it is also going to have the transaction of services, like Reliance Industry. Reliance Industry is going to install a plant in USA or in Germany or wherever it may be. Okay, so that means they are going to have the capital investment, factor service in the form of capital. That means they are going to employ people also. So that is labor capital. So That means export, this service account is going to have export and import of services and current transfers. So this can be categorized under two categories. Now we are going to deal that what is the meaning of, what is going to be included under. Now we are going to focus that what is going to be included under export and import of services and what is going to be included under current transfers. So what is going to be included under current transfer? That means it is going to be included the gifts. The current transfer is going to be included as grants. The current transfer is going to be included as foreign remittances. Okay, what is the meaning of foreign remittances? Then we will focus on import and export. What is going to be included under import and export of services, we will deal in detail. But before that, let me explain that what is included under the current transfers. What is included under the current transfer? The current transfer gifts are included if, like, let me explain what is the meaning of it. First, let me rub it, then I am going to. So what happened? So when we talk about a current transfer, it is gift, grants and gift, grant, donation and remittances. So what is the meaning of gift? Gift means if suppose A is the individual who is working in UAE, United Arab Emirates, okay, that individual is going to give some gift to their near and dear. That gift may be in the form of car, that gift may be in the form of that may be in the form of house, that may be any type of gift. Okay, so that is going to be included into gifts. Grants, what is the meaning of grants? Please try to understand. Yesterday I explained it yesterday as well. Then we want to have that there is something which is known as financial assistance. What is the meaning of financial assistance? When we talk about the assistance, assistance is nothing but helping out to someone. And when we talk about the financial assistance in terms of economic terms, in economy terms, let me change the color of the pen, black, it will be more visible. So when we talk about the financial assistance in economic terms, it can be in two forms. One is in the form of loan. Financial assistance in economic terms can be in two forms. One can be in the form of loan. That means you are going to help out someone by providing loan to country or individual, whosoever it may be. And other can be grants. What is difference between loan or debt and grants? The difference is in case of loan, please dears, in case of loan, be the case of country or be the case of individual, they have the liability to repay back. Okay, that suppose A is there and B is there. Okay, A is there, A has given the loan of 500 rupees to B. A has given loan of 500 rupees to B. So if A has given loan of 500 rupees to B, that B has the liability to repay back this 500 rupees with interest. They will pay principal amount as well as interest. So that is nothing but loan. What is the meaning of grant? Grant means if A has given 500 rupees to B in the form of grant, then B do not have any liability to repay back. B do not have any liability to repay back. That is nothing but grants. That is nothing but grants. So grants are, that means those grants may be given to the that government, those grants may be given to individuals, but those grants are coming from the outside territory of India. Okay, so that's why it is going to be part of current transfers. Okay, it is not necessary that only the government is receiving the grants. Okay, that is part of budget. Okay, and that budget is automatically going to be part here as well. Okay, so that means that grants may be uh, given to government as well as individuals, but the only thing is that be the case of government or be the case of individual, in case of grants they do not have any liability to repay back. But when anyone, be the case of country or be the case of individual, they are going to get money in the form of loan, then they have the responsibility or they have the liability to repay back not only principal amount but also with the interest. So that is the case. So in case of financial assistance can be done in the form of loan or debt, or financial assistance can be done in the form of grants. So if the country or individual is getting the grants from outside the territory of India, that will definitely be part of our current transfer. That will definitely be part of our current transfer. Whereas other is remittances. What is the meaning of remittances? Let me rub it first, then I am going to explain. Let me rub it. So what is the meaning of remittances? Remittances refers to, try to understand it with an example. Suppose A is working in UAE again, or because most of the individual or Indian citizens are working in UAE. Okay, so the most of the individuals are working in UAE, and India is the highest receiver of the remittances in the world. India is highest receiver of remittances in the world, even more than China. We have the remittances more than China. Okay, so that and most of the remittances coming from UAE, United Arab Emirates. So suppose we are A is working, okay, in UAE. So whatever funds A is sending to their domestic country to their near and dear domestic country, that all will be part of remittances. That all will be part of remittances. Okay, so this is the current transfer. So current transfer, what is going to be included under current transfer? Current transfer is going to include gifts, grants and donation, and current transfer is also going to include remittances. Whereas what is included under the export and import of services, we are going to discuss it in very detail. Okay, when we talk about the services, please try to understand that services means that intangible. Services are intangible. First, let me categorize, give the definition of services. Services are, how you can characterize that identify the service. That means we have to focus on characteristics of services. So very first characteristic is they are intangible. Intangible means they do not have any physical structure. They do not have any physical structure. This is the, since they do not have any physical structure, that's why they cannot be touched. They can't be touched. And other characteristic is they are produced and distributed. They are produced and distributed at the same time. Like I am giving you people my service. So I am producing the lecture, I am delivering the lecture. So that is nothing but service. Okay, so services are characterized by intangibility, meaning they do not have any physical structure. Since they do not have any physical structure, that's why they cannot be touched or they cannot be visualized. Whereas that services are produced and distributed at the same time. These are the characteristics. So when we are going to talk about the export and import of services, which is the part of the invisible account, so what is going to be included? So let me tell you that what is going to be, but before that let me first rub it. So what happened? So we want to say that this must be very clear that export, when it is going to be export, it is going to be export when suppose Reliance or Tata or any Indian entrepreneur is going to open their plant in foreign country. That means if they are going to install a plant in foreign country, then it is going to be export. And what that means, they are going to install a plant in foreign country with the help of capital. So it will be export of capital. This will be export of capital. And why they have opened their plant in foreign country? They have opened their plant because they want to do the business. They want to do the production. So that means when it is going to be export of services, we were discussing that suppose Reliance or Tata or Infosys or whatever it may be, Indian entrepreneurs, they are going to open they are going to install a plant in foreign country. So that means they are going to have the export of capital. Not only that, that means that is export of capital. Okay, and they are going to that means employ the people, they are going to employ individuals, and they are going to employ Indian citizen, Indian resident in the foreign country. That means Indian resident is going to do work in foreign country, then that is nothing but export of labor. That is nothing but export of labor. Okay, now we are going to discuss that is labor. So it is very clear. Now we are going to discuss that now suppose now we are going to discuss another type of other is suppose USA company, any USA company, suppose karo suppose let's suppose that BMW, not American company, rather Germany, company of Germany, BMW, they are going to install a plant in Indian territory, and for that they are going to have a land, and they are going to that means take a land on rent, and that is nothing but export of land. If it is going to be, dears, please listen me and listen me carefully. When any foreign company is going to install their plant in Indian territory, they are going to have we are going to have the export of land. So let me tell you that whenever there is any business activity, the business activity always takes place with the help of land, with the help of labor, with the help of capital. Let me rub it first, then I am going to. My dears, please listen me. That business or the production always takes place with the factor of production, that is known as factor of production. And what are the factor of production? There are four factor of production. One is land, other is labor, other is capital, other is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means like I gave example you people that Reliance industry, they are going to have the risk to do business, and that is nothing but entrepreneurship is skill. So entrepreneurship, so that means the business or production activity always takes place with the help of factor of production, that is land, that is labor, that is capital, that is entrepreneurship, and that is nothing but services. So for the land, the individual or the factor of production is entitled to get remuneration in the form of rent, whereas for labor, the factor of productions are entitled to get the remuneration in the form of wages, whereas for the capital, factor of productions are entitled to get remuneration in the form of profit, whereas for the entrepreneurship, the factor of production is entitled to get the remuneration in the form of profit. Sorry, for capital it is interest. I am really sorry. I am really sorry that they let me summarize once again that factor of production always takes place, business or the production activity always takes place with the factor of production and non-factor of production. There are two things, one is factor of production, other is non-factor of production. So what is factor of production? There are four factor of production only. One is land, other is labor, other is capital, and other is entrepreneurship. Since factor of production are involved in the production process, therefore they are entitled to get the remuneration. So the factor of production, the land as the factor of production gets the remuneration in the form of wages. Land as a factor of production gets the remuneration in the form of rent. Labor as the factor of production gets the remuneration in the form of wages. Capital as a factor of production gets the remuneration in the form of interest. Capital in the form of interest. Whereas entrepreneurship as the factor of production gets the remuneration in the form of profit. So when our factor of production are working outside India, they are entitled to get the remuneration. So that is nothing but export of services, and that export of services are either going to be in the form of rent, or in the form of wages, or in the form of interest, or in the form of profit. So that is, and other is non-factor of services, non-factor of production. And what are the non-factor of production? There are non-factor of productions also which are involved in the production process, and they are also entitled to get the remuneration. So what are the non-factor of production? We are going to discuss that thing. What are the non-factor of production? That is IT enabled services. Very first is IT and IT enabled services like BPO. That means if India, that means it does not matter with whether the individual is have the physical location. That individual may be in India or individual may be outside India. Okay, but that means if that individual, suppose we are providing KPO service, knowledge process outsource, other is BPO, business process outsource. Okay, we are providing KPO and BPO services to foreign countries because it is IT enabled services. So that means factor of production, that means they are nothing but non-factor of production. So what is going to be IT services, whatever IT services we are providing to the companies of foreign companies, whatever IT services we are providing foreign companies, at the same time what is IT enabled services we are providing to the foreign companies, that will all will be non-factor of production. Similarly, whatever consultancy service, suppose our doctor, that means Indian doctor is treating to the foreigner, okay, that is nothing but consultancy service. Okay, that means our, that is known as medical consultancy. Similarly, there can be consultancy in different domains, so that is nothing but consultancy services. That if anyone, any foreigner is going to travel in India, okay, and going to travel for tourism or whatever it may be, it will be considered as export for B people, and it will be that export of our non-factor services. Okay, and this question was asked by UPSC, that if in Commonwealth games, if foreigners visit India to watch a Commonwealth games, what will be for India, what it will be, whatever dollars the individual is going to spend in territory of India, what it will be, it is nothing but export of our services. And what type of export of our services? It is non-factor export. Okay, and that is the travel and tourism and the shipping. That means if our shipping our shipping vehicle is going to have the ship of foreign goods, that is nothing but we are giving shipping services to foreign companies. Okay, so let me summarize once again that this current account, let me summarize the current account. This current account has two parts. One is visible account, other is invisible account. Visible account refers to that import and export of goods, whereas invisible accounts refers to import and export of services and current transfer. So what is going to be included under the current transfer? Under the current transfer, we are going to include gift, grants, donation, and remittances. Whereas in services, import and export of services, we are going to include that income from factor of production and income from non-factor of production. Okay, so that means it can be, what can be, that rent can be the that means we can lend out our land for the foreign companies to do business, that is nothing but export for our land in the form of the, for that we are going to get the rent. Whereas if our company is going to install a plant in the foreign country, that means we are going to have the land there. Okay, so that means, and for that land our entrepreneur has to pay the rent, and that is nothing but import of rent. Similarly, basis, that means suppose Reliance opened their installed their industry in the USA or any foreign country. Okay, and they are going to employ the Indian citizen there. Okay, so that means they are going to do business there, and that for that they are entitled to get the wages. That is nothing but export of wages. Okay, we are going to get the, okay, interest. When the Reliance industry install the plant, they had to invest the capital. When they invested the capital, they are entitled to get the remuneration for that capital, that is nothing but in the form of interest. When the Reliance industry has installed their plant in the foreign country, that means they have taken the risk. That is nothing but they have taken the risk, and they have the entrepreneurial skill, and for that entrepreneurial skill they are entitled to get the remuneration in the form of profit. So when they install the plant and that is doing the business activity and that is earning the profit, the Reliance industry is entitled to get the remuneration for their entrepreneurship, and that is nothing but in the form of profit. Similarly, when any foreigner when any foreigner is going to install a plant in India, what is going to be? That means they are going to have the land, and for that land, they are entitled to pay the rent. So that rent is nothing but export. When Reliance install the plant in foreign country and they are paying the rent, that is nothing but import. When foreigner is going to install plant in India and they are giving the rent for that land, that is nothing but export. Whereas, I think it is very clear. Whereas, so this is the case. And in case of non-factor income, it can be IT services, it can be IT enabled services, and I try to explain the IT and IT enabled services in the form of BPO or KPO. It does not matter that the service provider of BPO or KPO, the physical location of that service provider is where. It does not matter. It may be in India, okay, but we are giving the consultancy services or IT enabled services to the foreign country, then it will definitely be export. When our companies are taking the BPO or IT enabled services from the foreign citizen, it will definitely be import. Okay, so this is very clear. So consultancy services, if our doctor is giving consultancy or our lawyer is giving consultancy to the foreign countries, so foreign citizen, that will be consultancy service, that will be export. When our Indian citizen is going to take the consultancy service from foreign doctor, that is nothing but import of consultant, that service of doctor. Similarly, shipping, and we understood it in detail. Now we are going to proceed further and we are going to discuss capital account. Now we are going to proceed further and we are going to discuss the another part, that is capital account. As I said that BOPO can be categorized under two categories. One is current account, other is capital accounts. So we discussed this current account. Now we are going to focus on capital account. Now we are going to focus on capital account. So what is the capital account? What is included under the capital account? Let me tell you. So capital account, that what is included? The foreign investment. So what, first let me explain that what is. Thank you dear Ravi Shankar, thank you. So now we are going to focus on capital account. So when we talk about the capital account, let me first define what is the meaning of capital account. Whenever the word capital is used, be it case of budget of government or be the case of BOP, capital means refers to change in assets or liability. Change in assets or liability. We discussed it yesterday, we are discussing it today also. Change in assets or liability. So whenever the word capital, be the capital account or capital budget in case of government as well as capital account in case of BOP. So when there is going to be change in assets or liability of the government, that will be definitely part of capital budget. When there is change in assets or liability of the country, not only government but of the country, entire country, because of the inflow or outflow of dollar, that is going to increase or decrease the liability of the country, that is nothing but part of capital account. That is definitely part of capital account. That's why that let me first explain, then we have the analysis as well. That in case of India, India has the great, very large BOP surplus, but our BOP surplus is not because of current account, but it is because of capital account. And we can increase the forex or our BOP, we can strengthen our BOP by strengthening the capital account as much as we want to, because if there is inflow of dollar, because of the capital account, it creates liability, so it is not considered as much good. Inflow of dollar on capital account, is not considered to be as much good as it is considered to be in current account. If that means, if that inflow of dollar is going to take place because of the current account, it shows our competitiveness of the country, of the economy, where if the inflow of dollar is because of the current account capital account transaction, it increases our liability. So although we have the great forex reserves, that means we have that much reserve that we can meet out our import up to 2 years without any export. That much forex reserve we have, and our BOP situation is very good. But our BOP situation is strengthened not because of the current account, but because of the capital account. And when it is because of the capital account, it creates liability. It increases liability of the government or liability of the country, not government, liability of entire country. Now, let me explain it. So, what is included under the capital account? Under the capital account, that means it can be in the form of foreign investment. If the foreign investment is going to take place, that foreign investment in the form of, suppose any foreign companies, like we took an example of BMW, and they are going to install a plant in India, that means that is nothing but FDI. When the citizens or the foreign citizens, they are going to invest in our stock exchange, that is nothing but FII, foreign institutional investment. So that means they are going to invest in dollar, so that is going to be in foreign investment. So that means in the capital accounts, that what is going to be the components of capital account? One is going to be foreign investment. Foreign invest means investment from the foreign company, investment from the foreign territory, and this investment from foreign country can be in the form of FDI, it can be in the form of FDI, or it can be in the form of portfolio investment. Okay, portfolio investment or foreign institutional investment. Okay, so foreign investment can be in the form of FDI or FII, foreign institutional investment. The other component of capital account, so when foreign investment is going to be in India, how it is going to increase the liability? That means it is going to either in the form of FDI, so that means BMW is going to install their plant, so definitely we are going to get that resource, we are going to get more capital. If more capital, then that means if more capital, then we can increase our production capacity. If we can increase our the production capacity, that will increase the employment rate. and not only employment rate, it will also increase economic growth. So it is definitely resource. It is definitely resource if it is coming in FDI form, okay, or FII form, whatever it may be, because it is going to strengthen our resources, and with that extra resources, that means extra capital is there, so we can do the extra production. And when extra, in order to do extra production, we have to employ more people, and when that's why employment rate will increase, poverty will reduce, and when there will be more production, more economic growth. So it is definitely good. But at the same time, when FDI is coming in India, it is coming with liability. That means they can withdraw their investment when they want to. Not only when they are going to invest here, they are going to invest in capital. So they are going to get, they are entitled to get remuneration in the form of for capital interest. So they are going to that have the large resources in the form of interest. They are not only interest, they are install the plants, so they are going to have the remuneration in the form of profit as well. So they are going to have the profit that is going to be in their domestic territory. This interest and this profit is going to be in their domestic territory. So undoubtedly, when foreign investment in definitely, Ravi Shankar, my dear, definitely there is relation between forex and capital account. Forex means foreign exchange or inflow of dollar, and that inflow of dollar can be in capital account and it can be in current account. Let me tell you what we are discussing. We are discussing that thing only, that my dears, please listen me. Ravi Shankar, please listen me carefully. We are discussing that when there is inflow of dollar, inflow means dollar is coming in domestic territory, that is resource, and outflow of dollar means dollar is, they are withdrawing their investment or they are withdrawing the dollar, okay. So inflow means dollar is coming, outflow means dollar is going outside domestic territory. So this inflow and outflow may be on current account, that may be in current account, or that may be in capital account as well. Be the case of inflow or be the case of outflow of dollar, that can be in current account. If inflow and outflow is because of the current account, it is always good for the economy, because it shows the economic strength. Because if inflow is there, it is because of our export has improved. If there is inflow of dollar on current account, that what it shows? It shows that our exports has increased. That exports may be of goods, that exports may be of services. So it shows that our exports are greater than our imports. So this shows our economic strength if it is on the current account. If it is on the capital account, then definitely it can be, and we are getting lot many inflow of dollar, and maximum inflow of dollar is on capital account only. So definitely there is inflow of dollar, but when dollar is coming in domestic territory, it is coming with liability, great liability. We have to repay, for that dollar in the form of interest. We have to pay for that dollar in the form of profit. We have to do, that means they can withdraw anytime, that can destabilize our economy, like it was happened. And that was the very famous statement of our finance minister, that Indian rupee depreciating not because of our economic condition, because of their economic condition. Is it clear, Ravi Shankar? Is it clear? I just want to say that inflow means dollar is coming in the domestic territory, outflow means dollar is going outside country, from the country, in the foreign country, okay, going outside. So this inflow and outflow can be on both account. It can be on capital account, it can be on capital account, it can be on current account. But if it is in current account, it is welcome step. It shows that our economic strength. Why it shows our economic strength? It shows that our exports are more than imports. And when our export will be more, when our product is competitive, be the case of goods or be the case of services, that means we are producing goods as well as uh, services as a competitive price in the international market. Whereas it is on the capital account, definitely it is resource, but this resource is coming with great liability. We have to pay for it. We have to pay for in the form of interest. We have to pay in the form of profit. That is nothing but import. We explain. Not only interest and pay profit, but also they can withdraw anytime. When they can withdraw, that is going to reduce our resources. So our economy can be destabilized. Our exchange rate can be destabilized. That's why there was lot many depreciation in the rupee, value of rupee. And there was very famous statement that rupee is not depreciating, dollar is appreciating. Okay, that was, the meaning was that rupee is not depreciating because of our region, but rupee is depreciating. Depreciation is rupee is nothing but appreciation in dollar. And that dollar is appreciating, because demand of dollar is increasing. When demand is more and supply is less, then there will be increase. And this, they are demanding more because they are outflowing, they are withdrawing their investment, be the case of FDI or be the case of FI. Foreigners were withdrawing their investment, and they were withdrawing their investment not because of our region, but because of their domestic region. So that's I want to say. Is it clear? So now let's proceed. Okay, can we proceed? We can. So the thing is capital account. So on capital account, it can be in the form of, FDI. FDI means direct investment. FDI means that we are going to define, and I defined it 100 times. Okay, when I was discussing banking, okay, at that time also I explained. So what happened when we talk about the FDI? FDI means we are going to define from a foreign investor point of view, and investor is foreigner, that the investment through which investor acquires significant management control in the domestic company. Okay, that means what? The investor is going to acquire or going to install a company in the domestic country. That is nothing but FDI. So when they are going to come with FDI, they are not, so that's why FDI is always good in comparison to FII. Okay, so what happened? FDI, first let me explain what is FDI. FDI means the investment through which the investors acquires or establish or install a plant in the foreign country with management control. With management control. That is nothing but FDI. So when the foreigner is going to establish their plant, that plant belongs to the foreigner. So that means that individual is not coming with capital only, but that individual is coming with entrepreneurial skill. That individual is going to come with management skill. That individual is coming with technological advancement. So it will improve the efficiency of domestic economy. Efficiency. That's why our product will be more competitive in international market. When it will be more competitive, then it will increase our exports. So when it is FDI, it is better, more better in comparison to FPI. Why FPI or FIA? Foreign institutional investor, meaning they are going to invest in our share market. Through their our share market, the foreigner is going to sell or purchase domestic company shares, and they are not going to have any management control. That means they do not have any affiliation with company. Suppose foreigner A is going to invest in Reliance, they are not going to have any management control on Reliance if it is through FIA. So they are not going to come with management control and advancement technology. They do not have any affiliation. Anytime they can invest, anytime they can withdraw. So that's why it is more volatile. This is more volatile. That's why FPI or FII is not good as it is good as FDI. But in case of India, India is the second highest receiver of foreign investment. But the thing is, maximum foreign investment is in the form of FII, not in the form of FDI. If it is in the form of FDI, that will increase our efficiency, that will increase our competitiveness in the international market, it will improve our exports. But maximum in foreign investment is in the form of FII. That means they can invest and they can withdraw anytime. So that's the okay. So this is very clear. Now we are going to proceed further, and we are going to discuss the next, that is external commercial borrowing. External commercial borrowings means the private investors or the private entrepreneurs can my dears, please let me rub it, then we are going to the meaning external and commercial borrowing. What is the case of external commercial borrowing? If private and investor or entrepreneur, be the Reliance, Tatas, Ambanis, Adanis, uh, or an Infosys chairman, they are going to have the loan from the foreign country, loan or debt from foreign country, that is nothing but inflow of dollar, that will be considered as external commercial borrowing. And why they are interested to take loan from foreign countries? Because the rate of interest in foreign countries is comparatively lower. Why it is lower? It is lower because there is surplus of capital. There is surplus of capital. So when there is more capital, that means in comparison to demand, supply of capital is more. When supply is more, then interest rate will be lower. So that means that they can get the capital at lower rates, which can reduce their cost of production. That's why the Indian entrepreneurs are very much interested to have the external commercial borrowing, because they get the loan, they get the capital at lower rate of interest, which reduces their cost of production, which increases their competitiveness of product in international market, which improve our exports. So external commercial borrowing is going to be part, but when we are taking the borrowings, it is liability that this Reliance, Ambani, Adanis, they have to repay it with interest. So definitely it is resource. it is going to increase our exports, but at the same time it is coming with liability. We have the burden of repay. So I think it is very clear. Now other is NRI deposit. NRI means the Indian non-resident Indians. That means they are Indians but they are not residing in India. They are residing outside. That means they are working outside India. So when they are going to deposit, they are going to open their account in dollar. That's why that is nothing but inflow of dollar. So NRI deposit. So that means that is again a welcome step. That means that is going to strengthen our resources. Not only this, other is external assistance. This is very important. Let me explain, but before that let me rub it. My dears, please listen me. Other is external assistance or loan. That means when government gets the loan from the foreign country, like when we were discussing budget, government can take loans from the external source, and that external source can be bilateral and multilateral. That means government bilateral means government is going to take on individual basis, USA, Japan, we discussed yesterday, or whatever. Multilateral, that government is going to take the loan from IMF, government is going to take loan from World Bank, government is. So when government took the loan from foreign country or from international institution, that comes under the external assistance. Okay, and external assistance, clear? Now we are going to discuss that other thing is sale and purchase of assets. Okay, if we are going to sold out our assets, that is nothing but inflow of dollar. When we are going to purchase the assets, suppose Ambani and Adani are going to purchase assets in Germany, so that is nothing but outflow of dollar, but it is going to increase assets of our country. Similarly, when there is that means suppose BMW is going to install a plant and they are going to that means purchase a land, that is nothing but inflow of dollar, but because of that our assets are going to be reduced. So this is about the capital account. So be the case of foreign investment, definitely it is a resource, but it is with the liability. Liability is going to increase. External commercial borrowing, that is also a resource, definitely. That's why we are motivating also, but undoubtedly it is also coming with the liability. Similarly, NRI deposit, it is also a resource, okay, which can be used in the production process, but it is coming again with liability. Similarly, external assistance, meaning government is taking loans from the foreign country or uh, financial international financial institutions, that is again a resource, but again it is coming with the liability. And when there is sale and purchase, when there is sale, we are, that is nothing but inflow, and that is going to reduce our assets. And when there is purchase of assets in foreign country, there is outflow of dollar, and definitely it is coming, not this is going to reduce our assets. Okay, so that is the case of capital account. So undoubtedly that means our inflow on capital account is more in comparison to inflow of dollar on current account, but it is also a welcome step, but it is not as much good as it would have been if the inflow of dollar would have been on current account. That is the meaning that I want to say. So now let me analyze the things. Sorry, let me analyze the things. Let me have the analysis. when we talk about the current account, in case of current account, my dears, please listen me and listen me carefully. In case of this current account, on this merchandise account or the import and export of goods, we have deficit, meaning our import of goods is more than our export of goods. So on visible account we have deficit, current account deficit. On visible account, that means we have visible account deficit or trade account deficit, visible account deficit, because our import of goods is more than export of goods. That's why our visible account deficit is there or trade account deficit is there. Whereas trade account deficit, whereas in case of service account or invisible account, we have surplus. That means our export of service is greater than import of service. That means we are exporting more service in comparison to import of service. So when we talk about the current account, status of current account, that means on current account we have deficit, because suppose here we have 100 million deficit. This is hypothetical, not suppose it is 20 million or 30 million deficit. That means our import is more than export, 30 million, and here we have 10 million surplus. So overall we have 20 million deficit on current account, and this deficit is being meted out. This deficit is being meted out by the inflow of capital account. So we always have surplus on capital account, and we have used surplus on capital account. Because of that, we have used surplus on BOP. That means whatever deficit was there, on current account, that was meted out by the inflow of capital account, and we get used surplus on BOP. That is the condition. And what is the exact figure we will discuss when we will discuss the budget of 2024-25. There the economic survey, the data will be there, and we will discuss there. Okay, exact figure, that what is the deficit on trade account, what is surplus on invisible account, and what is deficit on current account, and what is surplus of capital account, and what is surplus of BOP. We will discuss when we will discuss the economic survey, because we need latest one. So that's why I have not mentioned the exact figures here. Now we are going to discuss that what is going to be significance of balance of payment deficit, and what is going to be significance of balance of payment of surplus. When there is deficit, how it is going to impact economy. When there is surplus, how it is going to impact economy. When there is deficit, what it means, that imports of goods, service and capital is more than our export. It is very clear. That means in that condition we must have to borrow. To meet out our imports. When our imports are more than exports, that may have the deficit, and then that means if we have overall BOP deficit, which is not condition in case of Indian economy. Suppose this is the condition of Indian economy, that we have the deficit, then in order to meet our imports, we have to take the debt. Okay, and in long term we will be in debt. So it is not good for any economy. For shorter period there can be growth rate, because if we are importing, and if we are importing, what is source? That we are doing economic production, and if we are doing production, that economic growth. But when we have the surplus, what it signifies? That our exports are more than our exports are more than imports. When our exports are more than import, it signifies that there is forex reserves. Forex reserves. When there is forex reserves, it can be used as a resource for production. It can be used for resource for production, and it is always welcomed. And in the long run, that our economy can be export oriented, which is not as good. Next is purpose. We discussed already that it shows the economic status of the country. Economic status of the country. It is the determination of the appreciation or depreciation of the country. That means it shows the, that means when there is BOP surplus, that means what it shows? That we have the forex reserves, inflow of dollar. That means there is supply of dollar. When supply is more than demand, what is source? That depreciation in the value of dollar, and depreciation in value of dollar is nothing but appreciation in the value of rupee. So by the condition of BOP, we can, this can be indicator of exchange rate, and all other things. It can be instrumental for fiscal and trade policy. At the same time, we can get the analysis of the trade policies. So today we finish here only. Thank you very much, dears. Thanks a lot. If there is any doubt, let me know. If there is any doubt, let me know, dears. Can we stop here? We stop here. We will continue tomorrow. Thank you very much, dears. And for the PDF, join my Telegram group, Pradeep at Textbook. For PDF of my lectures, join my Telegram group, Pradeep @ Textbook.